What's up, YouTube? It's your boy DR2727. Shout out to my Transformer collectors, my Marvel Legend collectors, 1/12 scale collectors, statue collectors, die card cast collectors, whatever you collect. Shout out to you. And this month's video for November 2021 are the 5 things I liked and didn't like about TfCon 2021 in Baltimore. And so before we get started, let me say this. I have been to every TfCon in the United States minus the Charlotte one. That's the only one I haven't been to. So I have a pretty good history on these things and enough experience where I can talk pretty confidently. And real quickly, I want to try to keep this quick because this is my 3rd time trying to do this video and I'm frustrated now, so I'm going to keep my thoughts quick. And we're going to do it like 2 MP and not 10 P. We're going to talk about what we didn't like, what we did like, and I'm going to get some final thoughts. What I didn't like, the first thing I didn't like was the lack of vendors. So it wasn't enough. Because of COVID, they kind of like tried to get everybody in one room. They should have had 2 rooms and had all the vendors there because there was enough excitement, enough money there to support a full room event, a ballroom of vendors, and maybe a smaller ballroom of kind of the artists and the people wanting to sit in the chairs. They did that at Reston one year, and I thought that was the best way to do it. And I think that when you first walked in, there was the Chosen Prime display, but there's normally somebody there with a secondary display, like Agabus Annie and his crew normally have a secondary display. Ages 3 and up, when they come, they have a display. Sometimes TF Source have a display, but it wasn't enough vendors there, and we needed more toy vendors there. That was the first thing. The second thing I didn't like, which irked me more than anything, was the third-party panel should have been on Sunday. It should not have been on Sunday. It should have been on Saturday. Excuse me. Normally it's on Saturday, and that's like the PST Resistance, kind of the crown jewel of Saturday. If you think, and moving it to Sunday, I don't know if they were doing that to kind of make it to where, hey, all the panels get, like, people are going to stay for all the panels, or if they were doing that to try to get a last minute ditch effort to get people to buy the weekend pass instead of the Saturday pass. If that was the case, I would be pissed. But if it was, hey, we want to give all of our panels, make them feel special, make them feel wanted. We know the third party panel is what everybody wants. So we're going to push that to the end, or push that to Sunday, so all the panels can get people to stay and go to all the panels. I'm fine with that. My only thought is that if you're going to do that, make the third party panel the last thing before the closing ceremony, so that way every panel, every session can get that interest. If not, if you're doing it just to get more people to buy weekend passes, that sucks, and you guys need to do better. That was the second thing. That really irked me because I was on the plane when the third party panel was going on, and I talked to the Rammer collectors and some other collectors, and a lot of people were on their way back home because we all have to work on Monday for the most part, right? So like that was very frustrating. A good amount of people missed that live, and that's normally the most hype event outside of seeing the actual toys and the display. Which leads me to my third thing that was kind of lacking: the lack of exclusive and prototypes. The exclusive this year was that New Age Megatron and MMC's Wrong. The Megatron I would consider a exclusive because I've bought exclusive before. I bought the Clear Mirage, the Autobot Torn. Those are things that you should only be able to get at a con. And I think that New Age Megatron classifies as that. But that MMC Wrong does not. That is a figure that's coming to retail. So just getting early access, I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that classifies as an exclusive, and the community deserves better. Now fast forward to prototypes. There was the MMC Ram Horn, the First Aid, the Cactus, which I wouldn't consider a prototype because it came the next week, and I think it was 1 or 2 more that the Chosen Prime had. Between Ages 3 and up and the Chosen Prime, those were kind of, it may have been 5 total prototypes revealed, and 2 exclusives. But like normally, if we switch back to just the prototypes, I remember one year resting, it was like 4 details full of prototypes, and so of all different scales. So like coming out of COVID, I think that we were hungry to see more prototypes, and it just didn't deliver for that. So that was the third thing that I didn't like. The fourth thing I didn't like was the way that they handled the lines. I think that one of the learning lessons from COVID is that lines are becoming a thing of the past. I think that we're becoming more of a scheduled pod type event place, especially for cons. I think that it should be. I agree with, hey, if you pay more, you get early access. I'm fine with that, but I also think it should be, hey, that line. I was in the early access line, so my line wasn't that long, but we got in first, and then I think 30 minutes later, everybody else was allowed to come in, or their secondary group. But it should be way more tiered to that. So it should be maybe every 20 minutes there's a group coming in. Every 30 minutes, there's a group going in. And the prices should reflect it accordingly. We shouldn't have those lines that we had at TfCon. And the final thing I didn't like was really no room parties. Room parties are one of the it's a jewel in TfCon. If you've been to a room party, basically what a room party is people just open their room up. You can come talk Transformers. Normally some of them have board games, but most of them are dealers who are dealing something like in their personal collection or something like that. And that's where you get the best deals, kind of those one-off things that you don't find. A lot of official stuff. That's where you find those gems at the best prices. And so the fact it was people who tried to do room parties in the lobby, but it just didn't have the spirit. So I wish that we could have got it back to. I wish that we could have found a way to do room parties, and that's on us as a community. So those are the things I didn't like. The things I liked was first and foremost where it was. Baltimore, the Inner Harbor, that was a great location. I was able to walk to a whole bunch of different restaurants, different shops, kind of a block and 2 block radius. And they have done a lot. They've done a much better job with Baltimore. I went to Baltimore in the early 2000s, and yes, it was wild. I know all that, the wire riffs and all that. But I felt pretty safe walking through there. And I thought that, for that little 3-4 block radius, I thought it had everything you need, something to do for fun, eating, shopping, all that stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So I thought the Inner Harbor, I say it like this, that probably was the best location they've had out of all the ones I went to. The second thing was when they had it. They had it during Baltimore Comic-Con, which I think was a stroke of genius because you can get you can get your con fixed for one weekend. So for people like me who were traveling from out of town, you can go to Baltimore Comic-Con and get your Marvel, DC, Star Wars fixed. Then you can come back to TfCon and go back to your home, your baby, watch your Transformers. So I think that was a stroke of genius that they put those in the same weekend. The third thing I thought that was good was, and I think that they need to do more of this, they did the COVID panel, and it was like how COVID brought us together or something like that. And it wasn't the actual panel, it was who they had on the panel. They had Deluxe, they had Rodimus Primal, and I think that that's what TfCon should be doing, is celebrating the toys, the third-party toys, but also celebrating the community. And for people like Deluxe, Rodimus Primal, Bobby Scoreface, TM Reviews, Pate Influence, DS Icons, everybody who does Rammer Collectors, everybody who does content, MGO, no matter how, if you're some level of big, you should be celebrated doing this. I think that they should get to a point that they have like some, hey, meet this reviewer or meet this YouTuber or something like that, where they kind of give the community a way to interact with each other, especially the bigger people. I think that this is a good start to, if they ultimately get to that, I think that that's where we need to go. That, hey, we're going to include more community, more reviewers, more YouTubers, more group people who run this community. We want to let them be on Front Street for TfCon as much as the tour. So I think that was good. The fourth thing I liked about it was that it was pretty much a normal TfCon. Like, they didn't short you on the events. Now, they may have moved some events or may not have been as many people as it was in previous years, but you got the full TfCon experience. So if this was your first TfCon, let me say this wasn't the worst TfCon that I've been to. LA was the worst TfCon I've been to, and this was better than that. And this was a pretty decent con. So, I would say if you went to TfCon and this was your first con, you didn't get shorted. And the last thing I'll say, which was, the best thing, was the community. I met some people. Shout out to Craig, shout out to JR, and what was the other one? Robert. Shout out to Robert. Thank you guys for coming up and just saying you watch my channel. That meant a lot to me. I'm very small, but just seeing everybody small talking to things outside the toys and just, outside of Transformers and talking Transformers, I think that that's what it's about. Like, now you're starting to meet people. And it's about toys. Don't get me wrong. It's about toys, third-party Transformers. We all love that. But I think it all helped us find some common ground and realize we're all people too. And, I thought it was a whole bunch of mingling. I thought that was cool. So that was my top 5, the 5 things I liked and didn't like about TfCon. I'll say what my haul was too, and I'll give a final verdict out. The only things I got the Kang toys from a mini, the MMC Run, and I got Flames toys, Victory, Liam. So that was my haul, and overall I would give this TfCon a B-. I think because of COVID, it's a B-. They had a lot of, it wasn't as many things, like I said, in the negative as it should have been, but it was better than it could have been. So again, thank them for doing that, because they could have shut it down at any time, but they didn't. And I hope we can move forward and get better with it. All right, thank you guys for watching.